All right, what's going on, guys? Thanks for coming by. Listen to this live. Thanks for the comments, guys. Down there, appreciate it. Sorry I was a little bit late. I was just listening to this Tucker Carlson clip on Lyme disease. As I'm becoming more and more of a conspiracy theorist as the days go on. But let's start off with what I wanted to start off with today. I didn't get to it last week. Okay? And that is Elon Musk and Doge. All right. By the way, I hope everybody had a good week and everybody's feeling well. Well, let's start off with Elon Musk and Doge. Now, something bothered me, right? 6 months ago. You guys know I'm not the biggest Elon fan, but I wondered why. I wondered why Elon Musk was getting involved with Donald Trump. You know, because it didn't make sense to me at the time. You know, Elon and his pretend I'm a genius and I know everything. But I was sitting there and I would think to myself, I go, okay, bro, you have kind of a lefty company, right? The whole EV thing, that's more of a liberal thing. You know, it's like you walk up to your average conservative, even now that like a lot of right-wing people like Elon, if you ask them, like, hey, do you got any plans to buy an EV? I don't know. Most people that lean more conservative, and even most, I would say a lot of, you know, centrist liberals, they would tell you like, nah, dude, I'm not getting an EV. You ask them why, go down the list of attributes they don't like about it. You know, number one, range. You can get mad about it, but, you know, the infrastructure is set up for fossil fuels. So, I mean, I can drive from Florida, where I am, up to Alaska. Okay? Try doing that in an EV. It's not going to happen. There's the other problems, right? There's the other problems that, you know, you have with EVs. You know, number one, they don't work as well when it's really cold. They don't work as well when it's really warm. That's just the fact of relying on your batteries. In the cold, and I pointed this out years ago, before you had the little Tesla apocalypse up in Chicago when it got so cold out, people couldn't keep their Teslas going. And it'll also destroy that battery if you run it out of charge for too long. But, all that being aside, I wonder, and I'm not saying I'm right here because I can't read his mind, but I wondered, okay, why is he getting involved with Trump? You know, a lot of people on the left have TDS. I don't think everything that Donald Trump does is great, but overall, you weren't going to get me to vote for that giggling lady and that soft fat guy from Minnesota, right? You know, gun grabbers that they are. But it kind of dawned on me. Elon Musk, although I don't think he's Tony Stark, is a pretty intelligent guy. Well, I would say he's actually very intelligent. All right? You don't get PayPal and whatever criticism you want to level at Elon Musk. You don't get to his level of wealth, whether you want to say he's scamming or not. Whatever aspersions you want to throw his way, you have to be pretty intelligent to get into the position that he's in. Right? He has to know that Tesla was massively overvalued. In fact, he got lectured by the CDC or whoever the powers that be back in like 2020 when Tesla was shooting up. He said Tesla's market cap its valuation makes no sense. Okay? And then he probably got a talking to, and that's where he kind of turned it around. But let's say you know your company is overvalued. Now let's say you've extracted a ton of wealth. I don't know how much money he's gotten out of Tesla, whatever. He didn't get his $50 billion bonus, which would be more wealth than Tesla has actually generated for the shareholders. But if he goes to work with Donald Trump, he has an easy out. I'm not saying there's not other motivating factors there, like why he's doing things. Again, some of it's not altruistic. We know that. But some of it is probably him seeing the threat that the far left, the people high on their antidepressants, for their antidepressants and whatever of the 75 other pharmaceutical drugs that they're on, so that when you look at them and you explain something to them, because all they do is watch the CNN headlines and then they try to lecture you about stuff. But when you explain to them, nah, dude, it works more like this, this, and this, they give you that stare. And, it's like a stare of emptiness, like their soul is being slowly chopped up by the Rockefeller drug industry. Right? They give you that stare. That dead-eyed SSRI inhibitor stare. Yeah, they pose an existential threat to civilization, to be honest with you. These are the same people that are spray painting swastikas on the side of a Tesla vehicle to punish Elon Musk, who already made his money off of the vehicle, and the only person you're really probably punishing at that point is a guy or a gal who's supposedly environmentally conscious, who bought their Tesla vehicle 2 years ago, had to work extremely hard to be able to afford it. Now they got some dead-eyed SSRI inhibitor leftoid damaging their property for no reason. They didn't do anything. Elon Musk went to the government and enacted Doge, which, by the way, Friday I just had to say it. I was at work, and if you guys don't know, I work for an unnamed government agency. Probably guess which one at home, but I don't need it in the comments if you know. Just keep that to yourself. But yeah, I had to say, because nobody was doing any work during the day shift, and then I came in at night, and everybody's like, Jay, nobody did anything during the day. And I'm like, yeah, this is how you get Doge. I'm like, dude, if you work for the government and you just do the bare minimum that you were hired to do, you're fine. Wouldn't have Doge. But instead, you couldn't even do the bare minimum, right? And that's how you get Doge. And now you're upset about it. There's some smug, probably overweight, middle-aged woman who worked for the Department of Education for the past 20 years that has no discernible skills. Like, this woman doesn't even probably have the skill of showing up to work and just doing what they're told. And, now she's out of work because these government agencies are wholly ineffective because people come to work and they just don't even want to do the bare minimum of their easy job. That's just side note rant. But what I believe Elon Musk did here was a 4D chess move, right? Tesla. He knew that it was going to tank eventually. We all knew it. It's overvalued. It was all hype. It's one of the most stubborn, overhyped stocks that I've ever seen. I mean, still, we're probably... What are we looking at here? Whereas I haven't even looked at So you're at $263 a share. Trading at price to free cash flow of 56. Right? Got a price to book of 11.62. You got a price to sales of 8.62. Which tells me this thing is 2 times overvalued. Your PEG ratio is 5. Okay? In December, FYI, it was 15. So you have $122 billion in assets versus a market cap of $847 billion. All right, yeah. So it's still massively overvalued. But, sorry. Going to be hacking a little bit. I don't know what happened there. Trying to eat some Halls. You know, keep that down. But, when it goes, because he's such a famous CEO, when the valuation reverts to the mean, people would be looking at him. But now that he's working with Doge and Trump, he can turn around and say, no, Tesla lost its market cap because of the radical leftists who destroyed Tesla. You know, that's the way I look at it. Because if you look at China, BYD is eating Tesla's lunch. I mean, you don't really have a whole lot of revenue growth now. It's massively slowed down. So, you know, I got some things right on this stock. There's other things I didn't get right. Like, I knew it was a lot of hype, as did you. Or you wouldn't have been watching my channel. You would have got mad and, you know, strutted off into the wilderness, angry at me, and never watched my channel again. But you knew Tesla was massively overvalued, and a lot of that was hype. But I mean, that's what I would do. I'm not saying that's the only reason. Elon's a fame whore on top of it. I mean, the dude was bald. He's a narcissist on some level. I mean, the dude was balding and he got hair plugs, right? Immediately there tells me you're insecure. If I had billions of dollars, Jay, looks like you're going bald. Cool. I got $1 billion. Would you rather have $1 billion or hair? I mean, in an ideal world, you would have both. But I'm willing to settle for $1 billion. Then the maximum, and they're too high, and they're higher quality than Tesla. Yeah, you know, I'm a wait and see guy on most things. Where I'm gonna look, like I was just having a conversation with a guy on AI today, and he was trying to tell me the hype on AI, some sort of programmer or something, whatever he does, but. I said, my opinion. There's no ghost in the machine with AI. It doesn't actually think. Really what it is in its current incarnation is a language compiler. It has to be programmed. You know, again, this is my basic understanding of it. But I said to him, I said, dude, I'm a wait and see guy. All you guys come out with this hype. It's going to do this. It's going to do that in the future. And that's what they were saying in the investment world on YouTube. And I'm like, dude, look, you're massively overpaying. For a little while, it's going to look like I'm wrong. Then eventually, what's going to happen is reality is going to come in. It's kind of like everybody went to the party and got drunk. You know, they got high on the hype. And then eventually, there's a hangover for it. But like I said, if I was Elon, this is the play I would do, because I don't want to be at the helm when this comes crashing down. So, you know, it's my opinion on that. That's what, you know, that's what I thought. Because I couldn't make sense of it, right? And the thing I couldn't make sense of, I go, yeah, I know Elon's kind of a fame whore, right? So, of course. He'll attach himself to Trump. He's also got some other concerns. Like, I think the Democrats actually came after him and, because he purchased Twitter. And I think he had some level, he wanted payback. But, yeah, it didn't make sense to me. Because I'm like, you have a company that caters mostly to urban liberals. Why would you saddle up with Trump and ride? Made no sense. I'm like, what'll happen is your core customer base will abandon the product. It's exactly what's happening now. But, yeah. All right, let's do some comments because I don't want these to build up too much. Thanks, Elemental. Augie, first like. Good evening, Alan. Thanks for coming by. Gil's daddy. Okay. Let's go, AB. Give me Doggy, Rue. Everyone liked the stream. Gil, what's going on, brother? Well, to save his wealth. I think on that, Pat, I think Elon has pretty much it locked in. I mean, look, it becomes this weird thing that a lot of people think, or I believe they think this, where they think a guy like Jeff Bezos has $100 billion, in a Scrooge McDuck vault, and he's sitting on his gold pile like Smog in The Hobbit. Most of these guys, their wealth is tied up in the assets that they own, like Amazon. Jeff Bezos contractually can't just sell all his Amazon stock. Elon has gotten several payouts, okay? And he got payouts probably based on the elevated stock price. So I think Elon has enough money at this point to fly around in private jets and send metal dicks into space and, I don't know, have his 27th kid with whatever baby mommy that he met on OnlyFans. So I don't think it's that, because look at what happened. Look at what happened with Elon, right? His center left people kind of lost their minds. Well, pretty much I'm not going to say everybody, centrist liberals, I don't think they really care. I think they just vote Democrat. Not like the Republicans are really much better than the Democrats. It's just that they're not trying to steal my guns. But, I think he didn't want to be at the helm of when Tesla's valuation crashes. And I think he wanted a good excuse. Some people he can point to and go, oh, it's not with me, it's with them over there. And it's growing pretty obvious. He couldn't stand seeing his business losing. Yeah. To buying politicians who have power to change laws. I mean, it is what it is. All politicians do it. We're going to say same about Trump. You don't get there not screwing people over. Oh, yeah, no, I agree. Trump is a ruthless businessman. Okay? He just, Woody, Lex something, Waxner or something like that, he learned the art of the deal from. Yeah, no. Trump is a ruthless businessman. I'm sure he's a decent dude. I mean, as far as people in that world go, it's like, oh, Trump's a good guy. But yeah, I'm like, look at Biden. Biden's been a swamp creature his entire life. And I bet you know what? I bet if I had met Joe Biden 20 years ago, just knew him kind of in passing, had some conversations with him. And he's still a dirty politician at that time. But I bet if I had gotten to know Joe Biden back in the day, I would be looking at him and going, there's some qualities I like about him. I don't think most people, you're not going to dislike everything about him. Maybe like Hillary Clinton. I don't think you could find a redeeming character trait in Hillary Clinton. She's a narcissist. She's a psychopath. She would kill your mom if she thought that would get her, a higher level in politics. A lot of these people are like any other group of famous people. They're people that sought out the limelight because they want the fame and adulation of the crowds. It is what it is, but have you seen his trans kid coming out on Hanasabi? No, I didn't see that, but I knew Elon had a trans child. Look, the whole trans thing, I have my opinion on it. My opinion on it is this wasn't even a thing that we argued about 15 years ago, right? I've seen transgender people walking around. How did I know? Because they were dudes wearing a dress. I've seen them out and about in my time. I never thought anything other. It was never like when I saw a transgender person. It was never like I gave it any more thought than, that's odd. It's literally all I ever thought. It's so weird how this got injected into society, and it's a culture war wedge issue. And it was really introduced after the great financial crisis of 2008. You can look online and you can see mentions of the word, transgender, homosexuality, whatever, Tea Party, white supremacy, whatever it is. You can see the use online just skyrocket. Because what it was, or what it is it's a more virulent form of political correctness. Political correctness is a weapon the elites use to keep you talking in a way that they want you talking. What political correctness is it's like, well, it's okay to have this conversation, but you need to have it under these parameters. It's the same thing as what we term woke today. All it is political correctness, reintroduced into society to divide the working class and the poor because the banks got the bailouts in 2008. Now, I understand why they did what they did, but there is no reason why these bankers or anybody like that should have gotten their fucking bonuses back in the day. That was just, it's like, dude, if I'm Superman and I rule the world and I have to, bail out these banks, everybody's going to jail that's involved. But that's the problem of having banks that are too big to fail. It's it just is what it is. That doesn't work. That's a consequence of centralizing the system. That's how you got yourself in that level of trouble. If you had a capitalistic market, the banks that did stupid things would have just went under. You could have kept the fucking liquidity in the market, and you could have just shrugged your shoulders and said, hey, don't take stupid risks. But yeah, the trans thing, again, there's going to be a lot of regret from this. Okay? You can't introduce cross-sex hormones into children. When they're going, you can take Lupron, which was created, it's basically estrogen that they would give to sex offenders. I believe that's what they put Alan Turing on in the UK. It's also another great thing to bring up. If you're a UK citizen, and somebody from the government starts lecturing you, go, aren't you the same people that put Alan Turing on Lupron because he was gay in the 1950s? After he, basically saved your asses with whatever bullshit he was doing. It's like, but no, I haven't watched that, dude. I'm probably not going to watch it. I'm just not, this is the beautiful thing. You don't have to pay attention to any of this. It's a great thing about living in a semi-free country like America. It's like, hey, Jay, we want you to use these gender pronouns. No. We want you to, watch this documentary. It'll change your mind. No. I got other shit to do. I got a podcast that maybe 100 people will listen to where I say ridiculous shit that sometimes I regret later on. I'm like, I shouldn't have said that. I got shit like that to do on Sunday night. I don't have enough time to sit around listening to Elon Musk's tranny kid talk shit about him because it's actually sad in how this is going to work out. Exposing her father, Elon Musk. I don't know about that. Is this the cult chat? Oh yeah, 100% cult here. This is the Revolution Army chat. This is probably, I don't know if this guy's serious. If not, it's funny. But if he is serious, he's probably one of those dipshits that tuned in when I was going on that epic rant about Bill Burr. And they were trying to tell me not to vote when these are the same morons that all have support Ukraine flags in their bios on Facebook and couldn't even tell me the basic premise of how that war started in the Ukraine outside of Putin bad, Russians bad. We're in a cult like Strongman's Discord or Fabio's Discord, brother. Tesla execs are selling their stock the moment it vests. No insider buying, but retail in their infinite wisdom says it's undervalued somehow. Gil's daddy. Yeah, dude. It's because, right, I log into Facebook the other day. Okay? Facebook is just awful. Now, nobody that's moderate or center or right really even goes on Facebook anymore. I don't even understand what the point of Facebook is at this point. Like, I log in, and I've talked about this before. I log in, I see like 3 posts from my friends. Then it's endless scrolling down from different actresses or hot chicks, doing their whatever Instagram influencer girl thing in my timeline. Scroll down through like 25 ads. Then I get to maybe, my friend went to the Bahamas. Then it's just political bullshit. But anyways, there's this super brainwashed lefty girl. So she was a stripper that I knew. She grew up. She was in a right-wing religious cult. I shouldn't say right-wing, but I did, for lack of a better term. And she escaped this cult. And if you know anything about being raised in a cult as a child, it actually makes you more prone to being in a cult when you grow up. So she went to college, got indoctrinated with Marxism. You know how it goes. It's the age-old story. I was in a religious cult, and then I became a stripper, and then I got indoctrinated by Marxist theory at college. But she posts on there. She goes, this is taking consideration, this woman just posts socialist memes all day. She goes, I've quadrupled my money in the stock market in the past 4 years using a modified Buffett method. And I'm like, yeah, I have no idea what you mean by that, but whatever. These are the people that are in the market. That's the point of why I'm telling you the story. Most of these people, like, I deal with it at work. The guy I told to sell Palantir because it's massively overvalued. And when I showed him financial statements, he looks at me and he goes, did you know that these are in the past? And I'm like, I'm sitting there and I'm like rubbing my eyes because I'm trying to show this guy how overvalued Palantir is. These are the same guys that are buying Tesla at this point. No matter what you tell them, they're not going to believe you. It doesn't matter. Like, Jesus could have his second coming come down, appear to these people in these stocks, and tell them, my child, Tesla is massively overvalued. They wouldn't believe him. So, I mean, I don't know what to tell people, but yeah, like, that would have been my instinct on, what's going on with Tesla. I don't really pay attention too much to what Tesla's doing. I know it's overvalued. It's going to drop eventually, but it's going to be one of the most stubborn stocks. I would not be surprised if Tesla has declining revenue in 2027 and it is still trading massively overvalued 2 years from now. Wouldn't surprise me in the slightest. Yeah, BYD. Have you seen? I would oppose that, but it is what it is. I would oppose it for two reasons. One, he's going to be in his 80s, man. Go retire. Two, I thought we had maybe I'm wrong. I thought there was a constitutional amendment that you couldn't seek a third term. So, and also, I don't know what's noise and what isn't noise coming out of this administration. Trump is doing his Trump thing, but Trump always just says things to get a reaction out of people. So, I don't know. We'll see. AI is just a blob of info, garbage and non-garbage. Stud fed into it and spitting it out somewhat of a linguistically proper manner. That's all. Yeah, and I mean, like I said, dude, you have to separate it. Like, I was telling this guy, he kept insisting to me, AI meets all the hype, and I'm like, bro, I remain unconvinced. I mean, I've heard all of this before. I heard it all throughout the tech boom. And, I look at people and they go, well, if you don't get in on AI now, you're going to get left behind. I'm like, well, what companies would be involved in AI? Oh, Microsoft, NVIDIA, blah, 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 blah. I mean, and I would look at him and go, you mean like all the companies that are in my index fund? So I really wouldn't lose out on it. But yeah, I want to, dude, personally, I think people are going to be in for a rude awakening, and the market's kind of showing cracks now. Now, is the Fed going to paper over those cracks like they did in 2022? I don't know. Maybe. AI is task-based learning for the upteenth time. Oh, my bad, Pat. Sorry. My bad. What's going on, Dex? No such thing as AI. Yeah, I've said that before too, and that's what I said to the dude today. I said, you guys keep making this out to be artificial general intelligence. It's not. You guys seen that? Oh, dude, yeah, I thought that shit was funny. Turning it into like that weird kind of art. Yeah, I was laughing at that. Literally remaking movies in that anime style. It's funny, dude. Steelheads, what's going on, brother? Who the hell is Gil's daddy? I have no idea, dude. I thought it was you at first. Then I started laughing when I realized somebody had put that in the title. Expose yourself. What's going on, Cal? What's up now? You think the market is crashing? I kind of hope so. I don't know, man. I thought the irrational exuberance was going to be killed in 2022 or 2023. But again, the Fed worked its magic and papered over everything under the Biden regime. So, I mean, are they going to do it again? Like, when we started letting the Fed interfere in the market, like, the government fears these recessions, but recessions are healthy for the economy. And they fight it as long as they can. We haven't had what would be considered a traditional recession since 2008. And so I don't know what's going to happen. I don't pay attention to it on a daily basis. I just kind of sit back and I go, I know the market's overvalued. Whenever the market is going to figure that out, we'll see. But yeah, I kind of hope so too, because I would like to start buying equities at a reasonable price. I'd like to start buying my ETFs in an undervalued market for a while to make up for the fact that I was investing in an overvalued market. Did you see Elon talk about how chess was a simple game? Because it didn't even have a tech tree or foggle. No, dude, I didn't see that. That dude says a lot of weird shit anyways. Like, the whole Diablo thing, like, I sit there and I go, bro, why? Maybe he's not that intelligent. I don't know. I'm just saying what I think happened when he got involved with Trump. But yeah, when he's saying he's like one of the best Diablo players in the world, and then people watch him play and they go, he's not that good. I go, why are you claiming to be good at something people can just verify online? That's bizarre to me. And why lie about something as innocuous as a video game? Like, or maybe not innocuous, in name, as a video game. Like, I love video games. I'm not going to sit here and tell you guys that I'm the best Witcher player that has ever played Witcher 3. You know what I mean? Like, and if you are the best Diablo player in the world, aren't you kind of a loser? Just saying. Aren't you, a little bit of a loser? Like, if hypothetically, if Elon was one of the best Diablo players in the world, I would be sitting there looking at him going, well, dude, who's running your businesses? Shouldn't you be on top of that? Like, what's going on with that? And it's like, how are you, as a 50-year-old man with 75,000 kids, how do you have time to play Diablo? Are you neglecting your kids? Are you what else are you neglecting? Yeah, dude, it's an odd world. Is Gil's daddy still in the chat? I don't know, bro. Now they're promoting it. Bro, you're going to have to be like a duck on this one. Question is, why do they want to turn society gay? Well, did you guys... I saw this video. I posted it. I reposted it on my Facebook. And it was Bill Gates was up on stage at a TED Talk. And he was talking about the problem of population. He said the Earth is projected to have like 9 billion people, and then the population is going to start coming down whenever that is. Mid-21st century. All right? And Bill Gates said, we are going to take that number down through reproductive health care, code for abortion or murdering unborn children, and vaccines. Yeah, he actually said it, through vaccines. And I got some more work to do. I got some more shit to watch, but bro, on the vaccines, I've got a lot of questions now. There was a guest on Rogan's podcast, and she opened my eyes on the whole polio vaccine thing. The amount of, I didn't know this. Like, the ridiculous number of vaccine injuries and deaths that came from that polio vaccine blew my mind. I had just always gone with, if you would have, I'll put it to you this way. If you would have come to me in 2020 and started talking shit about vaccines, I would have just said, well, I don't know, this guy's probably crazy. You know? Like, vaccines connected to autism, blah, 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 all that bullshit that was going on. Now, I got a lot of questions. Just going to put it lightly like that. You know, like why the Amish don't have the high rates of autism that we see in, you know, the rest of society. Okay. But if you ask a question like that, let me ask you a question back, and it'll give you the answer. I'm not saying all, okay? Do men in the LGBTQ community, do they tend to be more masculine or feminine? Simple question. There's nothing wrong with it. Like, you know, like if you're a more... All men have some feminine aspects to their personality and they have some masculine. But I'm just saying, if you went out on a spectrum, right, of men in the LGBTQ community, do they tend to be more or less masculine than other aspects of society? Do liberals, not all of them, but liberal society as a whole, think of like Hollywood, okay? Think of the entertainment industry. Do those men tend to be more or less feminine than men that are, say, working on the oil derricks, the oil rigs in Texas, or in the firefighter community? Like, if you just look at what tends to be a more masculine occupation versus a more feminine occupation, say, hairstylist, do the men tend to be more or less feminine in there? So you get my point with why I'm saying this. So then I ask one more question. Are women more or less agreeable than men? Women are more agreeable than men. It's men who disagree. And the more masculine a dude tends to be, the more disagreeable that man tends to be also. Disagreeable men are harder to control. Armed men are harder to control. This is why the government, the United States government, whatever you think, tends to dislike the Second Amendment. A lot of people that work in the bureaucracies, and I mean, I work with these people too. There's a lot of 2A people in there. But when you look at like the managerial class inside of there, again, tends to be more feminine. They don't like the Second Amendment. But that's to answer your question. I don't think they want to turn everybody gay. What I think they want to do is make society more feminine, because a more feminine society is just easier to control, if you look at it that way. The gay thing has nothing really to do with anything. It's more of just a wedge issue. And in my opinion, are elites so bored? It's some kind of sick joke, humiliation. No, dude. Again, it's about controlling you. It's always about control. Whatever the issue is, it's about control. So, the elites actually depend on us. If you're working class, the elites depend on you. They want to make you think it's the other way around. Okay? But it's not. So they know that there's less of them than there are of you. So, like, let me use this example. In medieval times, at any point, the peasants, just due to their sheer numbers, could have risen up and taken the king out of power. So they had to figure out ways to control them. One of the ways they control you is through identity politics. And then there's a myriad of other ways that they control you. Licensing for your career, all of this other bullshit. But ultimately, it's not that the elites want to mess with you. It's, number one, the elites, they want to be able to control you. Number two, elites tend to view everybody that isn't an elite as the help over time. So they view it as, you know, you're beneath them, they're highborn, you're lowborn, right? And they should be able to tell you what to do. People have these tendencies. Even outside of, you know, billionaires versus the working class. They have this tendency at work. Like, I have seen people at work talking to people that they think are lower on the station than them. And I'm just watching this person who's in the managerial class talk to some guy who's I don't know, he's an electrician. He's working on something. And they're talking down to him like the dude is stupid. And I know the dude is just looking at him like, oh, bro, how much I hate this person I cannot express in words. I'm just watching him squirm. But yeah, it's not about turning the peasants gay. Also, there's a third aspect of it. Eugenics never actually went away. Much of the ruling class, Bill Gates, is a eugenicist. Margaret Sanger, whatever, the woman who created Planned Parenthood, was a eugenicist. She wanted to wipe out the black population. And in America, no population has been more affected by abortion than the black community. Again, these are evil people. And money just exaggerates your tendencies. If you're a really good human and you get a ton of money, you're still going to be a really good human. If you're a piece of shit, that money just allows you to be a bigger piece of shit. Bill Gates, George Soros, all of these guys. But it's about manipulation and control, because ultimately what they want is a slave class. The elites, if you boil down the real world that they want a world in which they rule everything, you have no rights, and you have to behave as they want to. See, they try to export their class consciousness on the poor and the working class. They think, you know, it's the same thing that the liberal economic order did in Afghanistan. We went into Afghanistan and we started trying to export our culture to them. Although I now believe that the Afghanistan war and the Iraq war were never actually meant to be won. It was just a way to drain the coffers and transfer wealth upwards. But yeah, that's just what the liberal economic order does. Hey, we're going to go into Iraq and win hearts and minds. Well, these people don't fucking want you there. Well, what? But we're going to bring them Western liberal democracy. Good, they don't want it. Okay? They don't have any concept of it. Gil, because I don't know if I agree with that, because if you got $1 billion, it's not exactly like you couldn't get a harem going. You know what I mean? I mean, look at Bill Belichick. Isn't even a billionaire. He's just got a lot of money. And he's dating some 24-year-old. Right? So, I mean, when you get so rich, money ain't satisfying anymore. No, dude. Again, imagine, right? We'll use Bill Gates because I like picking on this fat little dough ball, this fat little Jeffrey Epstein Island dough ball. When you get to his station in life, he's just used to telling everybody what to do. And he's like, well, this is what we're doing because I'm in charge. And that's why he says, you know, we're going to produce more vaccines. Number one, there's the arbitrage opportunity that he's capitalizing on. Number two, he thinks he should just be able to tell you what you're going to put in your body, and that's the end of the story. Yeah. And now, dude, honestly, I think Diddy was just banging dudes. I think it was just a power play for him. You know? And I mean, I also think he was a federal informant, right? And that's how he got away with acting with impunity for so long. And I think he pissed off the wrong person and that protection got yanked. But no, I agree with you on that. I think Diddy liked laying the pipe to these rappers. And I think he liked sitting back, watching these dudes do gangster rap, knowing that, you know, he had stuck his wiener up their bum, to be honest with you. I think Diddy is just a sick fuck. And the more I look at Hollywood and the people that are at the top, the faker and more disgusting I think these people probably are. I'm not saying all of them, but a substantial portion of them. I mean, how many people spoke out about Harvey Weinstein before it became popular? And that's how it always works. It's silence until one person speaks up. Consequences weren't enough, then everybody starts speaking up. But yeah. But he liked the power. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, I don't even know how Diddy, I don't even know if he was dropping, like, if he was snorting Viagra off of their ass crack like you would, you know, if you got like a hot chick and some cocaine. I don't even know like what that was, but yeah, he was probably snorting Viagra and just laying the pipe to these aspiring rappers. Oh, they're 100% real, dude. Why do you think they always put the black guy in the dress in Hollywood? That's a joke. But it's actually a real thing. And I mean, being in a dress in a movie can be funny if you do it in the right way. Right? Putting a dude in a dress. You just have to do it in the right way. But yeah, like Kevin Hart. He put on the dress and he was elevated to superstardom. Tyler Perry, you know. Wow, I actually thought Big Mama's House was actually funny, so I'm going to let that one go. But yeah. Real. I think the elites at the top are... They are. Dude, haven't you ever heard what Nixon said about Bohemian Grove? He said it was the faggiest goddamn thing he's ever seen. And again, you know, for them, it's not about the fact that they're gay, but it's the fact that you're supposed, like a lot of these politicians or people who want to be in the cool kids club, the Skull and Bones, all these secret societies, they go up there and they have dirt on you. So if you get out of line, they're like, hey, you know, we have the pictures of that time you gave this other whoever a hand job. You know? That's... But yeah, dude, what do you think trying to force everybody into getting the COVID vaccine is on some level? It's a humiliation ritual. Right? A lot of it is. Hollywood. Hollywood has a ton of humiliation rituals. Let's look at Jon Stewart. Jon Stewart got out of line on the Colbert Show. Okay? He was sitting there and he did... What one of the few times I've actually thought Jon Stewart was funny was on that Colbert, where Colbert was trying to shut him down, but he was mocking the entire story of the COVID narrative. Sorry. Let's see if I can find Stewart. All right. Let's see if I can find it. Interviews Hillary Clinton. All right. I'm going to look at this real quick because I want to bring something up of what a humiliation ritual actually looks like. We're not even going to get into the fact that Jon Stewart had to put a medal on a Nazi. Or maybe we will. But this will probably get my live stream taken down, but I don't care.
Because a number of them sought
out these.
I'm tuning this down. All right. Looking at it from the outset. So there's no sound here. Who do you think's in charge here when you watch the body language? Just watch Hillary Clinton's. I noticed this when I was watching it. Let's see if we can get this creepy monster in the frame. Do you see that? Do you see her body language? See how she is in this? See how Jon Stewart is? It's clear from just watching this, just watching the body language between the two. Hillary Clinton is the more powerful person in this room. This was a humiliation ritual for Jon Stewart because he spoke the truth. That's what it always is, man. It's like you get out of line, especially when you're in that environment. We'll see. Maybe that won't get it taken down because the algorithm, I don't know. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. I really don't give a fuck. But, yeah. Gills, last warning. I already know where you are, Gills. All right. If you actually read Marx, he actually often says the opposite of how hair dye crowd interprets him. The issue is Marx writes in extremely long and vague, unclear prose. Yeah, I mean, and didn't Marx also comment on the proletariat should keep their guns? I think he says something like that. Not, to be honest with you, I probably shouldn't, but a lot of times I just throw out Marxist for totalitarianism because that's really what a lot of these people want. It's like, if my choice is authoritarian, be under an authoritarian government or a totalitarian government, I'll take authoritarian all day. Like, if I'm getting interviewed and Putin's like, you can't say anything negative about me, but you can think whatever you want. All right, I'm good with that. Totalitarian. You have to be 100% on board with what I'm saying. Like, fuck off. Gil, stop getting mad. All right. Here we go. All right. All right. Okay. Gil's mad. Don't let people rattle you. One of my mentors would tell a story about the Luddite and the futurists arguing about technological progress. Okay. The point of the story is to realize that the Luddite is a computer science professor and the futurist is an idiot. That's actually pretty funny. Because, again, you know, I'm probably just rehashing old stuff here, but when I was talking to that guy, I was like, dude, I remain unconvinced of the promises. Like, here's the problem with everything, okay? Everybody wants to promise you the utopia. That's the problem with the way everybody thinks, right? So you take the anti-gun crowd, right? And they argue that if you get rid of, if nobody's allowed to have a semi-automatic rifle anymore, oh, we're going to do buybacks. It's like, dude, you don't have a right to take my tax money from me and then buy back my personal property with my own money. But it's always some vague promise of utopia. That's where, if you listen to the Tesla crowd, right? Tesla's going to have robo-taxis, okay? And these robo-taxis are going to generate $50,000 a year, right? And I had to explain, I got to stop saying right, that's my bad. It's a filler word I keep throwing in. I get out of the habit, and then it comes right back. Okay. But they would say, you're going to get a robo-taxi, and you're going to send your robo-taxi out while you're at work. Okay? And then I'm sitting there going, yeah, but then why wouldn't I get a Tesla and send out a robo-taxi? They go, exactly, that's why you want to buy a Tesla. I go, but that means the market would crash. Okay? Because, and I got to stop saying okay. Because if everybody has a Tesla, nobody's going to need a robo-taxi. But every time AI is going to do this, that, and this, and it'll bring about the utopia. Tesla's going to take off and do this, and it'll bring about the utopia. If we get rid of, nobody owns any firearms, all murders will cease at that point. Even though the deadly AR-15, more people are beaten to death with blunt objects every year than all rifles combined. But somehow we're going to eliminate murder because they blame the tool. But again, that story is great. I like it, but it's always the utopia. So why should I buy NVIDIA? Oh, because of AI. It's going to solve the world's problems. Everybody's going to have a insert whatever hot actress or model fuck doll, and then robots are going to do all the manual labor, and then we'll all be free to just pursue whatever stupid passion that we have. It's like, oh, now that the utopia is here, I'm going to study the butterflies in the Brazilian rainforest. And I'm not going to get eaten by a giant black caiman or anaconda. What? They want less people so they can have more control. I think that, and I also think they want more of the resources for themselves. I think they realize at the top that technology really, how do I say this, isn't going to get that much more advanced. I think we're going to get more advanced in certain medicines. I think we'll get nanotechnology. But I think if you go out 100 years, I don't really think life is going to be that much different than it is today. Even if we keep advancing. I think you'll still be going to your shitty job. I don't think you'll have robo-taxis. Another reason they were pushing Teslas is because Tesla's basically a big computer. They can control where you go. They want the carbon credits, 15-minute city. They want, digital ID, CBDCs, programmable money. They want all of that. But I don't think they're going to get it. All these, the Davos crowd are the most disgusting people on the planet. It's more complicated. They could already kill us and take control. No, they can't kill us. They can't kill us until they get humanoid level robots. Then I think we're all dead. Okay, to be honest with you. They need the working class to continue to make the machines operate. It's like George Carlin said. They want a group of people that are just smart enough to keep the machines running, but too dumb to figure out how they've been getting screwed. That's what the elites want. The elites want slaves until they can replace us with robots. But it's boring that way. Don't think so. It's what narcissists do. Pretty simple. They want to do it in a humiliating way. Well, I mean, that's part of it because, again, there's humiliation rituals at the top in their society. This is what they do. I mean, you look at, everyone has their humiliation rituals. Theirs are just more bizarre. These people are sick. Oh, yeah. Dude, and here's a group of people I think are going to be proven true for the most part, too. The vaccine skeptics. I am now entering into that domain. Because, again, I'm just at the preliminary stage of it. But I am reading a lot of things that are, changing my world view on that. Again, I go back to 2020. Before 2020, if you would have asked me, do you think vaccines are a necessary part of, our society or whatever? I would look at you and I would say, yeah, absolutely. Do you think the vaccine skeptics are conspiracy theorists? I'd probably say, no, I think they just need a little bit more of an education on that subject. Now, I think it's me that needs the education on the subject. Because again, what this woman was saying about the polio vaccine and the polio viruses in general, and some people I think have said it on here. FDR, from what I understand, Roosevelt actually got the problems that he got from swimming near a petrochemical plant. Somebody said it on this podcast, and I went, is that true? I need to look into it. And then I forgot. But, yeah. Also, 100%. But, on the microplastics, I go to... There's no trade-offs. There's no solutions. There's only trade-offs, as the great Thomas Sowell would say. So, are we better off having plastics than not having plastics? I would hazard a guess as we're probably better off with plastics. Again, that doesn't mean the microplastics aren't a concern, but what's the alternative? Here's the thing. In ancient times, we had homo men that were great warriors. Alexander the Great. And fought wars. Yeah. We used to have... Yeah. But I was using that as an example. I mean, the reason I was throwing that out there, because you were saying, why do they want all the, men to be gay? It's not really that they want men to be gay. They don't care about that. It's just that what they want to do is feminize men so that they're more agreeable. That's why you had things like Tim Walz. I know and have met gay men that are very masculine. So it's just more of a tendency in that community, and other gay dudes that I've met. There's a guy I work with. Great dude. He's more of a feminine gay dude. I talk to him all the time. Good friend. Another guy at work, he was a gay guy, kind of on the feminine side. Worked with him. His name was Lorenzo. I used to look, when I was working with that dude and I came into work and I saw him, I got happy. Because I was like, oh, all right, dude, I'm working with this dude. This dude is fun to work with. He's great at conversation. But what I'm saying is the feminization of society happens when you have modernity. Civilization has a feminizing effect on men. It just does. And again, feminine men are more agreeable. That's why they want feminine men. Liberals are less masculine and also less feminine. I don't know what you mean, buddy. I'm only like, well, RFK's a liberal and that dude's pretty masculine. I'm just saying, shouldn't say that guys are that way in a certain subgroup. Because what I really should be saying is I think more feminine men are more drawn to the Democratic Party just because social issues are more of a feminine thing. You know what I mean? Is like the dude who works on a ranch in Texas isn't worried about what the homeless dude that's sleeping in the street is doing. But, yeah. And it's not all. Like I said, I know Democratic dudes that are very masculine. And I know Republican guys that are actually feminine dudes. So, it's not all the way, but they're just, yeah. Yeah, that's what the goal is, Gil. The goal is to make you more agreeable, and that's just a side effect of it. Weak men. Yes, 100%. Not curious, early grade, but I give it a C right now. Like securing the goal, buddy, too high, too quick. Don't like Pam Bondi either. If I'm comparing Trump to what I wanted Trump to do, probably a C+. But if I'm comparing Trump to, the other presidents we've had, I'm giving him a B to a B+ at this point. He's done things I don't like, I don't agree with. And it's amazing. Some of the people I know that go, oh, well, what do you think of Trump now? And I look at him and I go, dude, I'm not in a Trump cult. I don't agree with everything the dude does, and I don't think the guy walks on water. And I said this from the beginning of the presidency. I said, temper your expectations, because you're not going to remotely get everything that you want. If it were up to me, right, Trump would have walked into office, he would have signed a bill that ended the drug war. That would have been done. He would have dismantled the Department of Education, did that, he's doing that. USAID, didn't know what it was before Trump got into office, and I started watching Mike Benz. Glad that thing's being dismantled, but it's really just being put under the State Department, so I don't think that much is going to change. But I'll take whatever victories I can get. If there's a rolling back of some level of the government power and the bureaucracy, the bureaucracies are what skirt the Constitution, okay? But if it was up to me, he would have ended the drug war. He would have put the ATF, he would have suspended them having agent power like they originally were only supposed to be under the Treasury Department. We're not supposed to be out in the field. The 1934 the NFA, National Firearms Act, would be rescinded. You would be able to buy fully automatic rifles. I don't know, what else we could do here. We would have stopped the war in the Ukraine. You kind of need to bomb the Houthis. Houthis are interfering with the supply lines. I'm sorry if people don't like it. You either need to bomb them into submission or make some sort of peace deal with them. They're bad actors. Okay. And then there's talk of war with Iran. The last thing I really want to see is another fucking war. So, yeah. I like what RFK is doing. Again, we need to get the seed oils out of the American diet. Again, there's no solutions, just trade-offs. But seed oils are industrial waste. So people know that. It's actual industrial lubricant. Human beings are not supposed to eat it. I think it's one of the big reasons besides sugar that we're so fat in this country and around the world now. But I don't know. With Trump, I knew we weren't going to get everything that we wanted. He can do what he can do. The swamp is a powerful thing, and it will fight back. True, we used to have masculine Deadly Warrior gay men. Dude, you don't want those to return. Like Shane Gillis said. You know, you see the Vikings coming in and they throw up a rainbow flag and, you know, they're going to do what they do. Personally, I say we keep the feminized gay men because I'm going to be honest with you. I may be more conservative in my leanings, but I would not want to live in a world without the LGBTQ plus IACQB community. To be honest with you, I actually think they add a lot. They crack me up. So, I don't want the deadly gay men coming back. I don't want Alexander the Great. Not that, you know, I'm 47. I'm going to be 47 in June. I'm not getting kidnapped back to Alexander the Great's tent. You know what I mean? Where I'm in handcuffs and bound and gagged. You know, and Alexander sitting there drinking some wine with his other boyfriend, and they're like, oh, we're going to have fun with this one. And I'm like, fuck, nothing I can do about this. We don't want the deadly gay men back. Keep those. You know what I mean? I'm just saying. That's a little bit too much. Gay warriors conquering everything. Actually, do you want to know what I really think it is? That's feminizing men, besides civilization. Just a little hypothesis I have. What effect are these SSRI inhibitors having on society? I know from being on them. So, when I got out of the military, I started getting migraines. I'm sure it had nothing to do with being deployed to the radioactive burn pit that was Balad, Iraq in 2008. And so I started getting really bad migraines. I go to the VA, they give me an antidepressant, an SSRI called nortriptyline. And this made me emotional, annoying. It, you know, interfered with my ability to read people and the effects I was having on them with my behavior. And I was acting in a lot of ways like a leptoid when I was on them. And then I got put on this other drug called Otezla because my allergy to the oak tree pollen and pine pollen down here got misdiagnosed as psoriasis. So they put me on Otezla. And I got the same thing. Overly emotional, extreme anger, depression. I was drinking way too much on it. It's one of the reasons why I quit drinking was getting off of that drug. Okay? So, honestly, when you see these people that are spray painting damaging Tesla vehicles, I bet you that if you looked at their medical profile, I bet you at least 90% of them are on some form of pharmaceutical drug. These drugs are poison. They get handed out like candy because everybody wants a quick fix for whatever problem they have. Oh, doc, I'm a giant fat fuck that can't keep the seed oils and Twinkies out of my mouth. Doctor, have you tried going to the gym? That requires actual effort and suffering. All right, here you go. Here's Ozempic or Wegovy or whatever, so you can continue to shovel disgusting shit down your throat and not suffer you're going to suffer the consequences later on from the Wegovy and Ozempic, but personally, I think Wegovy and Ozempic are going to end a lot like Fen-Phen in the late 90s. But yeah, so it's what we do in America. You know, we're the most medicated people on the planet. Okay? How is it that in the land of abundance, okay, no humans have had it better ever in human history outside of Adam and Eve in the garden? Okay? How is it that 5% of the population takes whatever percentage of the pharmaceutical drugs. What percentage of pharma drugs are consumed in the U.S.? See if we can get this real quick. We're 4% of the population and we consume 8% of the drugs. If I believe that statistic, and I actually don't. But how is it that in a society where the average person has it better than any time in human history, you have these people walking around in this country like, I'm sick of this bullshit racist country. Yeah. My mic thing fell out. There we go. All right. How is it that everybody in this goddamn country is depressed? Okay? I literally, oh, you want a donut? I can find you a donut at 12:30 at night in America on a Sunday night. It's like, we have it better than almost anybody who's ever lived. Yeah, everybody in this country is fat, depressed, and nobody wants to do the work anymore. It drives me insane. So, Doc, I'm depressed. All right, doctor. Here, let me look through my Rockefeller pie chart to tell you what to do. Oh, it's amazing. John D. Rockefeller and the Rockefeller Foundation set up the American medical system, okay? And some other oligarchs. Why? Because they wanted oil in every aspect of your life. Okay, all right? So, it's amazing. All your symptoms result in me having to give you some sort of pharmaceutical drug made out of petroleum in this country. It's like, Doc, I'm depressed. Oh, all right. So, what's going on? Oh, doctor can't sit there and go, all right. So, are you getting sunshine? Yeah, let's test your vitamin D levels. All right, you're vitamin D deficient. Okay. You're overweight, right? What are you eating? Oh, I eat a lot of sugar. Oh, okay. What do you do for a job? Oh, well, I sit all day. Okay, I sit in front of a fucking screen absorbing blue light all day into my eyes. Okay. How's your social life? Well, I don't do anything. I just go home after work and I jerk off to the 96,000 different forms of pornography that's on the internet, readily available, blasted into my face. I don't hang out with my friends and family. And the doctor can't look at you and go, okay, you live in paradise. United States is paradise. Maybe there's some better places in the world to live. I don't know. I've never been an indigenous tribesman down in the Amazon, which to me actually seems more fun than listening to everybody bitch about how hard they have it in America. Okay? But instead of, suggesting changing up the diet, getting some sunshine, sweating, hanging out with friends and family, and getting some hobbies. No, we're going to give them pharmaceutical drugs. Pharmaceutical drugs will just solve all your problems. Oh. Yeah, right. Seed oils. It's actually literal poison. Let's be real. Most people nowadays don't give a crap about Billy Boy these days. He's been exposed by many. Who are you talking about? Billy Boy. Talking about Bill Burr? But others, yeah. No. Oh, or Bill Gates. Yeah, that's true. All right, sorry. It took me a second. Sorry. My bad. Being slow. But others... Oh, no, yeah, I agree. Bill Gates has been exposed, and you wonder who the nefarious person is behind Bill Gates. Because honestly, I think Bill Gates gets marching orders too. I think he has some input. But yeah, the oligarchs at the top, they hate you. They've always hated the working class. I don't understand why people don't get this, right? Oligarchs, for the most part, despise anybody that isn't an oligarch. Yeah, no. That wouldn't surprise me, man. I knew a dude down in Phoenix. He was kind of like a bodybuilder. Good looking dude, man. Really good looking dude. I mean, I'm a decent looking guy. And I was like, dude, I look like Quasimodo next to this dude. But yeah, we're all pretty sure he was gay for pay. And again, look, man, I'm not judging you. And even if I was, that dude probably could have kicked my ass anyway. So it is what it is. But yeah, no, dude, a lot of Hollywood guys. You'd probably be surprised. Hey guys, give me 1 second. I got to take a piss. Alright, sorry about that, guys. Sauna day, I drink a ton of water. But yeah, there's a lot of like big name actors. You know, it's like Robert Downey Jr. said in Tropic Thunder. It's Hollywood. Everybody's gay once in a while. Is what it is, man. I'm not judging it. I don't blame you. I mean, look, dude, I look at it like this, right? If you were a gay dude and you got an offer from Hollywood and the dude was a decent looking dude, is what it is, man. Again, that's not for me to judge. That's your decision. But back in college, I once heard a girl argue because it perpetuates wealth inequality and all it does is make... Yeah, she's probably unaware that, you know, her 401k is the stock market. She's probably unaware that most, you know, union guys, most union guys are clueless that their pension is actually, you know, stocks and bonds. A lot of it is like tax-free muni bonds. Yeah, but, you know, and also I can forgive that girl because she's probably like 18, 19. She doesn't know. She's probably like, billionaires. They own all the stocks. Good. Buy those stocks. They've gotten too big to fail and they'll be bailed out. Good. Why wouldn't you want to own those assets then? I just get mad because when the Fed intervenes, it prevents me from buying stuff up on the cheap. I think Pat B. Yeah, I started. Oh, no, I believe you, dude. Yeah, dude. I mean, that stuff's more common than you think, man. The scary thing is she was in student government and had plans to be a policymaker. I agree with your take that every policy... Yeah. I mean, honestly, I don't think you should be allowed to be in Washington or anywhere where you're writing policy that's going to affect the economics of a community without actually have taken Econ 1 and 2 some basic finance classes, and some accounting classes. Because a lot of these people are clueless. And, like, the people that go into these positions, they think that a stroke of the pen will change human nature. It's like, look, dude, people are motivated by their own self-interest. I'm sorry if you don't like it. It's just the way humans are. It's always it's utopianism. Oh, well, if you just got rid of your bad ideas in your head, if you weren't so selfish, we would make utopia. You're not going to make utopia. You have the world you have, and you're going to have to operate in it. That video looks like a kid who got in trouble and is being... Yeah. Dude, I noticed. That's why I brought it up. I noticed that. I was like, oh, they're punishing him. This is part of the humiliation ritual because you said something that the establishment doesn't like. And imagine being a Jewish dude that pins the medal on an actual guy with a Nazi tattoo. That's the way they operate. Personally, I don't understand how these people are threatened. If I was Jon Stewart, and I had Jon Stewart's money, which is probably, who knows? But I'm just going to say he's got $100 million in assets, investments, cash, whatever. If I went on Colbert's show and they said, hey, you broke the official narrative, so here's what you're going to do if you want to get back in the good graces of the establishment and you want to keep your career. I go, I ain't doing any of that and I retire. Have a good life, guys. Stop me. He has enough of a name that he could just go on YouTube and say whatever he thinks. But again, I'm not in that life, so I don't know how it works. I don't know if somebody is threatening him. Yeah, well, we'll put, certain type of porn on your computer. And then we'll put you in a jail cell for 30 years. I don't know if he's getting threatened with that. In that case, if I was getting threatened like that, I'd be in that video too. Sitting in front of Hillary Clinton, who's got like that posture. And if you notice in that video, how they must have given her a booster seat. But if you just, look. This right here is a power position. If I'm sitting here and we don't have any sound, I would say she is easily, in the way she's talking, she is easily the most powerful person in the room. And then if we pan back to little Johnny Stewart, yeah, look at him. He doesn't want to be there. He's sad. He looks like he's being chastised right here. That was an amazing video. Bro, I learned this gay Hollywood crap when I was a young aspirant. Oh, no, dude, my dad told me that back in the day. He said a lot of those bodybuilders are gay for pay out in Hollywood. It is what it is. It's fake. Oh, no. I mean, look, dude. I'm not saying there aren't dudes that have that rugged masculinity. But it's not exactly like being a performer. It's like being a ranch hand. Or, again, insert stereotypical masculine pursuit. So, yeah, out in Hollywood, a lot of gay men like performing. So they go out to Hollywood, a lot of them become famous, and it is what it is, man. Again, to me, there's nothing wrong with that. And also, remember, when Hollywood is lecturing you, about, LGBTQ rights. Elon coming out as a lesbian was seen as a big deal in the 90s. And I remember being in this communications class, and this professor was, raving about it, and he was so happy, and he thought it was the biggest thing ever that happened in entertainment. And I'm like, bro, who cares who people want to sleep with? It's the most mind-numbing subject people talk about. I don't know why in modern society, well, I do, because it's identity politics, but so many people take it serious. It's like, bro, who you go to bed with has nothing to do with the character of it has nothing to do with your character and who you are as a human being. All it is an immutable characteristic, like the color of your skin. It has nothing to do with whether you're a good person or not. But yeah, that's where we are. Sitting around, acting like a bunch of children, talking about who people like to sleep with as if it's important. But yeah, a lot of those guys, you'd be surprised. I bet you there's a lot of male Hollywood actors that are pretty big that were on the casting couch. And again, I look at it as, that's what you want to do, that's what you want to do. It's not my business. I'm not saying wealth isn't a problem, or they can't. So, leave that how some folks. It's because a lot of people went away from the church, in my opinion, obviously. Politics became their religion. And in upper societies, like the higher you go in society, up there's not really consequences for being wrong. Like in the managerial class, if you get something wrong, it's not a big deal. But when you're dealing with things of consequence, like piloting a plane, more working class or blue collar people are less insulated from their mistakes. So it's a more acceptable thing to be wrong, actually, the higher you go. Because intellectuals actually don't think there should be consequences when their bad decisions don't work out. Okay? But yeah, like a lot of people are just desperate. Like, oh, I'm going to talk about this subject. And you look at them and you go, just remember, it's better to be thought of a fool than open your mouth and remove all doubt. They don't want to listen to that. Jay, do you believe... Yeah, I mean, who am I to say somebody shouldn't have $1 billion in assets? Why would I get to make that decision? And also, when we're talking about wealth inequality, let me point something out. Wealthier people, whether it's just better education or whatever it is, tend to buy more assets. Poorer people tend to buy shit. That's where you get into the thing where it's like, how many people have you seen that you know they don't have a pot to piss in, but they're walking around in brand new, however much they cost, $400 Jordans and expensive clothes. And, you know, they lease a $600 a month Mercedes. Yeah, and I know people fall into unfortunate circumstances, whether it be, you know, disease or accident, shitty roll of the dice, or whatever it is, that they find themselves in poverty. But I hate when people sit there and they go, every person that is poor is a victim of society. Because that's not the case. There's a lot of people, and I know people in the working class that just mismanage their money. They buy shit. They needed that $20,000, $30,000 bass boat that they used 2 weekends out of the year, and then they sell it, 10 years later for a tenth of what they paid for it. I know plenty of people like that too. I know plenty of people who, have massive student loans for degrees that aren't going to pay off. So I have my sympathy for you if you went to school and got a good degree and you still can't find a job. But if you went into, school and got a degree in medieval lesbian scissoring technique, I don't really have much sympathy for you. And I don't know what a poor person is spending their money on. Meaning, I'm sure there's quite a bit of poor people out there that budget their money, have a little bit to save, they're doing their best, they're working hard, they're not spending money on stupid shit. In that case, that poor person will end up wealthier than his neighbor who just spends all his money on lottery tickets. It's like, well, I'm poor. Okay, but why are you poor? And I'm not asking that to be condescending. Like, what's going on? Why are you poor? Because wealth, honestly, is relative. So, I am extremely wealthy, even in comparison to the King of England in the 1700s. So, if you go back in time, I can buy goods and services he couldn't buy in the 1700s. So it's like, okay, but are you poor? Why are you saying you're poor? How much money do you make a year? Well, I make $60,000 a year and I'm poor. Okay, but are you? Who are you comparing yourself to? And what are you spending your money on? I don't know. But I will say this. It's not up to me, and I think that's a very arrogant and narcissistic thing, where one person would say, billionaires shouldn't exist. Why? Who says? And how would you work that out? And how are you sure that wouldn't have catastrophic results for society? And what happens? Who gets to take their stuff? And who does it get redistributed to? And why are you allowed to do that? Gronk says 70 take at least one medication versus Europe where it's 40-some. Yeah, if that's the case, it doesn't surprise me at all. And I really do believe that if you took a lot of these leftoids that are damaging Teslas and looked through their medical files, they would be on all sorts of pharmaceutical drugs. I'm just telling you, I tell people from my experience, I've made mistakes in life and I try to be open about them. Dumb shit mistakes. But I try to tell people, if you can avoid any pharmaceutical drug, avoid it. If you need it, and you got to take it. But, yeah, we're an overly medicated society. And we're at the last comment. All right, guys. Well, I'm probably going to call that a live stream because we're an hour and 45 minutes in. Sunday night. I'm kind of tired. I want to get to bed. So, I'm going to say to you guys, hey, man, if you popped in and watched the whole thing or just some of it, thank you. Thank you for your comments, guys. Thank you for hanging out. I really appreciate it. Always have a fun time doing this. So, I want to say I hope you guys have a great week. And I'll see you next weekend, next Sunday. I'll be back up. So, thanks for watching, guys, or listening. And have a great night. And I'm out.